I'm Caitlin Baxendale, and I was a writer and cinematographer and editor on Dayton's Darkest Summer, A Rise from Tragedy.
My name is Ben Bratton, and I was a writer and cinematographer on the short documentary Dayton's Darkest Summer. So the beginning of this documentary started when a group of UD students, we all knew we wanted to, make a documentary throughout the course of the school year. We weren't entirely sure what the topic was going to be. So leading up until the school year during the summer, we had all been, kind of preparing, thinking, trying to find a topic that we wanted to cover. And then it just seemed throughout the course of the summer that, the story wrote itself for us. And these two events happened. There was the tornadoes and there was a shooting. And it was just the obvious choice is this is the story we have to cover. So then throughout the course of the year, we followed up with, all the people that were impacted and hearing their story. And the way we approached it was we really just wanted to tell the story that, the people in Dayton experienced and tell it from their perspective. We didn't want to put words in anyone's mouth and say anything that didn't actually happen, but we really wanted to accurately represent the experience that the city of Dayton had throughout both these tragedies. And I think we were really able to do that quite well. So one of the biggest challenges that we faced in producing this documentary was towards the end of our production, once we had finished wrapping on all of our interviews, we had editing to do and we still had B-roll to capture. Right around this time was when the global pandemic hit and the entire university sent students home. The city was on lockdown and it posed a serious challenge to finishing this documentary. Being faced with these challenges, I think our team really stood up and showed their worth in a lot of different areas, despite being, working from home and not having access to a lot of the footage on the school's computers. Our advisor, Greg Kennedy, provided us remote access to the footage on the drives of the computers, as well as our VFX artists did great work from home, animating all the title cards, lower thirds, and all the pop-ups that displayed. We still had a couple people that were able to film B-roll to overlay either from home or some that were still in Dayton to capture footage around the city to fill in kind of the gaps in the story that needed some more visual explanation. So despite being, working from home, not even being in the city of Dayton, I think our team did a great job of coming together and making this project really polished and presentable in a great documentary.
One of the big challenges we faced was the interviews with all of our subjects, because we basically had to sit down and ask people to talk about the worst day or days of their life, which is very hard, especially when it's your first time meeting someone and you're asking them all of these really personal questions on camera with all the lights in their face. It was really, I'm sure, intimidating for all of them. It was intimidating for us, but all of our interview subjects were so honest and real with us, and they were the reason we were able to put this piece together. So it worked out really well. We definitely knew that certain people were going to be very emotional, especially those who had lost someone really close to them in the shooting, or those who had completely lost their entire house in the tornadoes. I did not expect myself to start crying during some of the interviews, but that just goes to show how the people of Dayton really love the city so much that they were willing to be vulnerable with us in front of the camera and get the story out there so that, we can paint a good picture of Dayton to the rest of the country. Being a student at the University of Dayton making a film about the city of Dayton has been really meaningful and eye-opening to me because I haven't lived here my whole life, and it really helped me integrate into the community outside of the little campus that I live on and exist on. And it really just strengthened my appreciation for the city of Dayton, and it just, I realized how great of a place Dayton is outside of the campus that I live on.
Having the opportunity to film this documentary in the city of Dayton was great for me to connect on a larger scale outside of just the university, which I'd been, attending classes and living on campus, but I hadn't really connected with the city as a larger whole. So, doing the research and finding out more about the city itself as we were making this project really showed me some cool new places to visit and see, and all the really neat stuff that's going on in Dayton that I was not even aware of before having participated in putting this project together.
So this documentary was part of a class that juniors and seniors participate in every year for, I think it's been 5 or 6 years now. And so every year there's a documentary produced by students in our department. So definitely we had those to kind of inspire us to see what we liked about what they did, what we didn't like about what they did, and kind of make this our own project, which was really cool. 2 years ago, the documentary won a student Emmy. So we really got a lot of inspiration from that one and we had some big shoes to fill, but definitely years past, the student projects inspired us in making this project.
One of my personal inspirations for the cinematic style that I tried to take in approaching this documentary, I follow some filmmakers from the UK. One of them, his name is Ollie. He makes short documentaries about old English cars, and he has a very unique cinematic style that I think I aspire to replicate that type of style in. So in having the opportunity to film this project as one of the cinematographers, I was constantly looking for, what is the beautiful shots that we can get of the city? What are the interview setups that truly represent what these people that we're talking to, what their story is? So one of them was talking to both Patty and Rich. We decided to film inside their house, the house that was still being under construction. We went to their address, and this was before their house was even fully rebuilt yet. So there were, no walls. It was all just rafters, and there were construction workers still working on it when we arrived there. And it gave us the opportunity to see people in the environment that told their story visually, as well as we could hear their story personally themselves, which was one of my goals, and I think something that came across very well in the doc.
I think I have 2 pieces of advice for newer filmmakers after working on this project. And the first is to not wait to get things done, because you never have as much time as you think you do. And so you always think that, oh, I'll just get this done later, I'll get this done later, and then it'll all come to bite you in the butt when you get to the end of the project and you're scrambling because you didn't get enough B-roll or you didn't get enough audio bites or something. So definitely don't wait to get things done, but take advantage of all the time that you have. And also communication is so important, especially when in a project like this where there were 11 of us working on it and we were all equal in working on it. So when we had differences of opinions or we had different ideas for the direction of the documentary, just communicating that with each other and finding, putting all of the ideas together and making this big piece with all of our efforts involved. Communication is really important.
One of the biggest things I learned through this project was how to work well in a team and collaborative environment. We had a lot more people in this project than I had previously been involved in for shooting any type of film. So learning everyone's strengths and weaknesses and helping each other all become better filmmakers was a big part of this project, as well as stepping up in areas where uh, the doc could have used more help. People supporting each other and also knowing when to back off and let other people do their job and know that they're going to do it well with confidence. That was a big part of the experience for me, is learning how to work well in a team environment. After completing this project, I'm definitely super excited for more stuff to come in the future. Immediately after graduation, I've started, and I'm currently located in a production studio up in the Ann Arbor, Michigan area that I'm working at. So I'm hoping to continue further productions, bigger productions, and continuing to develop my skills and connect with other filmmakers and producing some beautiful video media.
This documentary was the first documentary I've ever worked on, which was really cool. I didn't really know much about documentary making, so I really fell in love with it and the storytelling aspect of it. I think it's really cool. So that's definitely something I'm keeping in the back of my mind for the future, and just keeping telling stories, because that's essentially what filmmaking is. We had talked about different film festivals that we wanted to try to enter our documentary into, and the Dayton Independent Film Festival obviously was our number one choice because it's the city that our whole documentary is about. So we just really are excited that the people of the city are going to get to see the story about what they've gone through, where they're going in the future. So we're really excited to be in the Dayton Independent Film Festival for sure.
Having been accepted into the Dayton Independent Film Festival is super exciting for us, particularly, as the namesake of the documentary shows. The film was shot and based around Dayton, but it's also just super exciting to see, growth and development in the filmmaking community in Dayton. I'm really excited to see, where the festival goes in the future, and look forward to hearing from more filmmakers coming out of the Dayton area.